Hello and welcome to Watching Worst Films. This is our first special where we have just watched My Son Hunter, the Breitbart film production. So ordinarily we are working our way back through Razzie history, watching all of the worst picture winners, but every so often we're going to spice things up with a special. And for our first special, we decided to tackle what we thought would be the runaway leader in the race for next year's Razzies. My Son Hunter, which, Kyle, do you want to attempt to summarize?
Well, we'll start what we always do. What's your experience with
Breitbart?
Breitbart, or this is directed by Robert Davi.
Yeah, so this is a conservative propaganda film about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
And so my experience is I heard of it. I think I heard of it because of Gina Carano, actually.
Yeah, it's Carano that got the sort of publicity on the side. So it's just disgraced actors and Robert Davi. I mean, how disgraced is he these days?
Robert.
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Davi had any scandals, so Robert Davi's kind of ruined his reputation by doing this.
100%.
But
100%.
I don't think prior to this he was in.
I mean, yeah, so like my experience with it is I think through Gina and you telling me about it. And then getting my hopes absurdly high from it through the trailer.
Yeah.
Which looked so fun and genuinely like interesting in some ways as well. Like it looked like a picture as well, it looked like a movie. So yeah, you can tell by the tone of my voice I'm devastated.
Well, that's why we decided to tackle this, wasn't it? We're like, special, what can we do? We're dead on our feet after Transformers.
I mean, yeah, it's the pick-me-up.
The
bounce back.
It'll be our
like
nice little line of cocaine that'll restore our energy and get us a bit more perked up and excited about the future of this podcast.
Yes.
And spoiler, it was not that. So yeah, this is a extremely low budget production, I would imagine, as it's shot entirely in Serbia.
Yeah.
There's some like second unit footage of like some B-roll of like the US, but
even then I was like, is that actually the US or is it just Planet Hollywood sign up and done?
So this is a very low budget conservative production. So Hunter Biden himself is played by Lawrence Fox, the head of the Reclaim Party. You know, it's really impressive he manages to juggle like a frontline political career and being a successful actor. I don't know how he does it. And a musician as well. Is there no beginning to this man's talents? Yeah, so he plays Hunter Biden, and then the biggest name after him, but even before him, like she's a bigger name worldwide, certainly. 100%. Gina Carano's in this, and as we predicted, she is like, this was a movie that existed, and then Gina Carano probably got cancelled and became available, and so they were like, okay, how can we airdrop her into this?
Shoehorn right in. Yeah, she's the biggest name. She's second build, I think, on the post.
No, she's on the post. She's got the and.
Oh, okay. She got the and. Well, that's it. She's a very special guest, isn't she? Because it's really only her, Fox, and Biden, played by insert name here.
Yeah, I was hoping.
Black.
I was hoping you would look it up because I don't know.
Because that is your cast, apart from two extra people at most.
You have Lawrence Fox as Hunter Biden, and you have John James plays Joe Biden.
Okay.
Emma Gojkovic plays Grace Anderson, and Gina Carano actually has a name. She plays Agent Hound, apparently. I don't think she's ever. Yeah.
And that is your cast, though.
That's your cast.
That is your fourth cast.
So Joe Biden was in Dynasty, apparently.
Yeah.
You recognise him?
No, I think we looked up last week.
Oh, maybe we did, yeah.
I blocked it from my brain after this 93 minutes. But yeah, I think that's all he'd done was Dynasty and some American TV. I don't know if he's doing it for the political affiliation or if it's just easy money and work for him, but
yeah.
Either way.
So we haven't really tackled our history with the film. So neither of us had anything super clear, no real preconceptions going in. We saw the trailer, and that's really everything.
That was enough.
Right? Well, the trailer makes it look as if it's like the trailer is a Scorsese pastiche.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this is going to be crap. This is going to be a load of conservative nonsense. But at the very least, it'll move. It'll have some energy to it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, all the energy is in the trailer. Like, none of it's translated across in this film at all. And right away, it's noticeable. But yeah, that's it. We only knew it through the trailer. We only knew it through the real life stories and exploits. We know what Breitbart is. I don't think you're a loyal follower yourself. But...
Oh, I'm a paid up subscriber. I get all my news from Breitbart.
On that note as well, we watched this through, once again, entirely legal means because...
Thank you, yeah.
we're not pay-per-viewing this.
It's so expensive, isn't it? It's like it's not Kevin Smith NFT films, but it's like $25 or something. Yeah.
£25. And that is a daylight run. That's the biggest crime Hunter's ever committed, is charging £20.
Like if one person pays for this, the film's made its budget back.
100%. 100%. So yeah, fuck that. We're not hunting this down, pun intended, hard. It popped up everywhere. I think a lot of people wanted to see it as well, though. Like just to laugh at it, but
yeah. There was a bunch of people like us who were like, "Oh my god, this looks incredible! Like, when is this going to be available to watch, to hate watch, essentially?"
Yeah.
Okay, so the film starts off with. It doesn't start off with Hunter Biden or Joe. It starts off with fake news footage of BLM riots.
Yeah.
And that was my first note. What does BLM have to do with any of this?
That's wrong. I mean, this is like a minute into the film, and the warning signs are flashing right in front of us now. Like the news reporter screen, so badly done. I mean, so cheap.
Yeah.
Like YouTube levels, it's just
worse. Well, that was what I said. Is like, I've made things like this where it's looked like they've just done like black text on white background, like BLM peaceful riots or whatever. Nothing's moving. It doesn't look like, it looks like it's been cobbled together in 5 minutes.
And then they jump in between stock footage of the real riots or real riots of some other types to the 3 people or the 4 people that they've got standing there. It was just chef kiss. So that's a big warning saying that you are in for real cheap movie here.
And it's that conservative thing of they're like a dog chasing a car. They just can't maintain focus. They can't keep their eyes on the prize because they're like, oh, I'm making a movie, therefore I need to fit in like every single grievance I have.
And that's kind of like that hyperactive attention span. What was it wanting from
I was
wanting to jump about in.
I thought that was what we were going to get. So when it started, it seems like a weird thing to criticize the film for. But then it's like BLM, and then there's like pronoun jokes, and it's all just like old man yells at cloud.
100%.
It's like Robert Davi didn't write it. Robert Davi's like the gun for hire, but like it seemed like your conservative uncle wrote a film. And he's like, this is the only time I'm going to get a film made. I need to fit in everything I hate about those dirty liberals into one film.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I don't think we've mentioned, have we? Robert Davi is the director of this film, who is better known for his acting credits.
100%. Including future Razzie episode Showgirls.
Yeah, he's nominated for Showgirls. He's a guy in Die Hard.
He is a guy in Die Hard? He's in Predator 2.
Is that still McTiernan?
Yes. No.
McTiernan did the first one. I don't know if he did the second one.
No, produced it maybe. I don't know.
And then he's your favourite Bond villain. You want to go on record.
I love License to Kill is my favourite Bond film, and I love him in it. I absolutely love him. So okay, I know him as an actor, and I know him from 1989. Basically, I've not. He could have told me he's been dead for 20 years and I'd have believed it, but it's okay.
Some would say making Breitbart films is a fate worse than death.
So. He got a paycheck. I mean, it might have been in, like rubles, but he got paid in something. Yeah, so I don't know if this is his debut, is it? Or
no, I think he's directed things in the past.
Okay. Well, it doesn't look like it.
No, exactly. This seems very much like a student film in terms of production value. As you said earlier, like the news stuff is so badly dubbed. So whenever anyone who isn't obviously an American or British actor speaking, you just get the sense that this is
they're dubbed, yeah.
this is a local hire and a voiceover.
And this is something ties in. I mean, we'll go into it more in the film, but like I got big flashes and vibes from like I'm a reluctant Steven Seagal fan, a Seagalologist, if you will, and a lot of his straight to DVD Eastern European films. Like right away, I'm noticing similarities. I'm like, okay, everyone here that's not on the title or on the poster is going to be dubbed. I expect that. You know, I am expecting stunt doubles. I'm expecting look at how fancy LA is, and it's middle of Hungary. So all those things, and that's kind of what I would compare it to rather than a student film. But most of those Seagal films are at least color corrected, and there is some sort of like technical proficiency in them. Some level, not all of them, but some most of the time.
This is the most red I've ever seen a human being.
Absolutely.
It's Hunter Biden in this film.
It's like Mandy.
Hunter's not red. Don Jr. is kind of red, but Hunter traditionally.
Well,
that's normal.
Some of them we already touched on with the casting, like so Fox doesn't look like Hunter.
No, so straight off the bat, Lawrence Fox, he's completely miscast in this role. As an actor, he's probably the best. Joe's fine, I guess, but Lawrence Fox is probably like technically okay as an actor, but he's just like, he doesn't have any real resemblance to Hunter. He doesn't really have the sort of energy or vibe of like a train wreck coke addict fail son, and like he's too low energy.
Too low energy, too old.
He's too old. He's probably about the same age as Hunter, to be honest.
Yeah. He looks too old.
Yeah. He looks older than he's like 43 or something.
And even his age, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The main part has not been counted. Whatever.
Yeah, he's just like, he's too much of like a sad sack mope, when my impression of Hunter was he's like the life and soul of the party. He's like a chaotic guy who just is loving life.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of what you're expecting from a Breitbart Productions. That is going to be showing him his most zany and his most chaotic and rambly and goofy or something other than low energy and tired and mopey.
Precisely. I thought that this film was going to be like stoking the conservative moral outrage. I thought they were going to be making this for like the Ben Shapiros of the world to get their pants in a twist of like, oh my God, can you believe like the president's son like consorted with sex workers and smoked weed? But they don't do that. It's just so dull. So the film wants to be like a Martin Scorsese film. Like it starts off with like a big tracking shot of Hunter going from like a limo through Belgrade's finest club. And like it's so clearly trying to do the Copacabana thing from Goodfellas, and so stylistically it wants to be like it wants to be a Scorsese film.
100%.
But whether this is Robert Davi being a lethargic old man that can't match Scorsese's energy, whether this is the editing, whatever it is, it can't do it. And like Lawrence Fox is completely the wrong vibe. It's like having like a Terrence Malick protagonist in a Scorsese film, where he's just sort of like wandering around, like staring at a dog and having telepathic conversations with it. It's so slow.
I mean, so like even that, when he goes down, he goes through the finest club in Belgrade, like I said, goes through the toilets, does a line of coke, calms him down, it lowers his energy even further.
No, he does the coke, and the coke gets him up, and he's like, my heart's gonna, and then he does the crack to calm down.
No, that's a party though, isn't it?
Sorry. Yeah, ahead of things.
It's when he gets in the toilets from the security guys.
You would think Robert Davi, of all people, would know how coke works.
100%. He sold it License to Kill, So, and they go downstairs into like the private, eyes wide shut sexatorium, and it is so disgusting. It is so cheap. And it's going for the classy, elegant, with these rich socialites and stuff, but it's so cheap. And you have like 3 extras, and you're in a basement, and you're on grimy settees and sofas, and a little red curtain next to a brick wall. Like
it looks like an open mic night rather than somewhere like a decadent Democrat would have. Hang out.
So this is like the first warning signs as well, because already the pacing is so fucking slow.
Yeah.
And this is your, like you're saying, it's your Scorsese try to one shot it almost, one take it through, and it's played so fucking slow already. We're not even on to the part is, I think, so I'm just going to say now, my biggest problem with this whole film is how Mitch was sitting down.
Yeah.
Everyone's sitting down. He goes to a strip club to sit down instead of partying. He goes to everywhere to sit down.
It's like this film was directed, like this film doesn't really know who Joe Biden is, but it's like this film was directed by real life Joe Biden. Like an old guy is just like, come on, man, let's just pull up a chair, man. Let's just, what about nap time? Jack? Gonna take a nap, Jack?
We didn't get a Jack, did it? But
no Jacks and no Max. We had our list of Biden cliches or Biden tropes, Biden lines that we thought we were going to get. And it crosses off pretty much everything.
Surprisingly so as well. I mean, like,
it doesn't work. It's just like it's like Biden fan service of like, rather than like, I don't know, like rather than like RNA saying like I'll be back, you get Biden calling someone dog-faced pony soldier, and like talking about corn pop, just like shameless, just like, oh, these throwaway things Biden did in the speech.
So ham-fisted as well to throw it in. Like, there's no... I want the corn pops flashback. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see it gloriously recreated.
If you're gonna do this, you have to commit to it, and 100%. Have corn pop be like a present that like haunts him throughout the film. You can have this hairy legs as you want, Joe. You're never gonna be president. It's not horseshoe theory, but this film's almost like a testimony to left and right being not that different.
Yeah.
Because this is just like all the like crap. This was like a conservative SNL sketch.
I mean,
it's not quite, but you know how like liberals would be like, oh, what if Trump said Kofifi in every sentence?
It's delivered like an SNL sketch as well. Like, even when you're talking about the wee corn pop thing that shoehorned in, is delivered to have that reaction from the audience, like in an SNL sketch. Like, yeah, it is the same thing. Like, the left can't mean the right can't mean. Like, everyone's just so unfunny.
That's kind of like the biggest issue with Fox, apart from him being low energy, is like he's too self-aware. Like, he's too smug. Every line is delivered almost like winking at the camera. Like, but like, Democrats, Dad, we're meant to be the good guys. We're not meant to like harvest adrenochrome, or like, Dad, you said the wrong word there. Mm-hmm. It's all just so like Lawrence Fox. Like, you don't see Hunter Biden, you just, the mask drops and you see Lawrence Fox.
I mean, right away as well. Like, really, I mean, that's what from his introduction. He's not playing Hunter though. No, he's not at all. This is Lawrence Fox winking
at the camera, being like, "Oh, so much for the tolerant left." Aren't they? You know what? Aren't like anti-racist the real racist? Okay, so stylistically, again, when I was sort of still had hopes for this film, and I was like, oh, it's going to be on these like energetic, trying to do the Wolf of Wall Street, Adam McKay kind of thing. It has all those like text, like it has text overlaid on the film, and like it has like clip art pops up constantly, and when he has the conversation with the dog, which is all done through like thought bubble, like clip art
really
thought bubbles
as well. Like,
and you said to me, you're like, why couldn't this be voiceover? Like, there's no reason that couldn't have been voiceover. You could have got like
the actresses, but not the dog. You know?
Yeah, you could get like a conservative icon like James Wood, Sir John Voight, Sorbo.
I would have loved that.
Someone who's like, I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up. Like, I don't want to fly to Serbia, but I'm willing to like spend 5 minutes in a vocal booth to be a dog in the.
And then the clip arts come. So I don't know what, 2 scenes later, it's all in a house party. Everything's in a fucking hotel. Yeah. So the scenes are all mixing together. Even when it's meant to be fucking somewhere else, it's always the same hotel. And there's parties going on, and the obnoxious sound effects as well. Yeah. The stock sound effects just popping in. They get worse, as you will talk about. I'm sure you've got your note for it. But
so let's just talk about all the aesthetic things now. So we have all the clip art, we have like little sound effects. The worst one might be when Joe is like, Hunter, you could be doing something that might ruin my erection. And it goes, boing!
Just edit it in right now, find it.
I want to know everything that's on that laptop that can ruin my erection.
You're welcome.
Just for anyone who might not know what an erection is. Yeah, so it's filled with like terrible stuff like that. Like when Hunter when Hunter is having his sort of like the closest he gets to a bender, when he's going through like his like he's at the Chateau Marmont, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's doing all his drugs, and you see like a terrible rendering of like a clip art heart, and it's like beating, it's speeding up, and he's like, and it's like the Grinch in the cartoon where you're like, and that day the Grinch's heart grew 3 sizes. Hunter's heart's like about to explode, and so he goes and he like does some crack to calm down.
Which again was something we've said, like, so every time Lawrence does drugs in the film, it's to calm him down. It cracks in this world and universe, cracks a sedative apparently.
In the Robert Davi world, there are just downers and downers.
Everything's a downer. So yeah, but none of it played off. Like, so this is kind of what, like, all the clip art, all the sound effects don't come from any like drug induced hallucinations or anything like that. They're like Gina's not even in his head, you know, when she's talking on screen and being blue screened across. So none of it's played like that. So all this sort of like aesthetic flair and everything that they're kind of throwing out there is just weird. And I don't know. At first I kind of thought they were going for like a stupid Deadpool thing, you know, like we're gonna we know we're in a film and we're gonna but like
because Gina breaks the fourth wall.
Right away. They're all looking at the camera right away.
No, but I mean in terms of like not even in like a Scorsese way, you know, like in Wolf of Wall Street when like Belfort explains things or whatever. But in terms of she acknowledges the artificiality of the film where she's like, I'm a fictional character.
Yeah, yes. I imagine being cancelled. I thought we were meaning more like when she walks on, blue screen's on, and she's terribly chromed and everything.
You should have her be like, this is a terrible green screen. Have we not got a...
And she walks off as well. She doesn't fade away or disappear. She walks to the left of the frame, and that is so weird and cheap, but like, you don't know if it feels deliberate. That's what I mean, and it's all strange and not funny or interesting either. Like, there's
nothing's funny. It's like this film. Both of us remark at several points, like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Because it has like the vibe of an educational film you would get shown at school. It's like, okay, kids, you're going to learn about Hunter Biden's laptop, but you're going to do it in a fun way. Mm-hmm. So you're going to watch like a film which isn't entertaining enough to be entertainment, but it's not like insightful enough to be a documentary.
100%.
Which kind of brings me back to this film being like not really anything of. So I thought it was going to be like debauched. I was expecting a debauched, pearl clutching, like Hunter sex fest, but it's not really that. No. Like, could you, like, what would the certificate of this film be? Like, could you show this in schools? Because like he has orgies and things, but it's like a PG-13 orgy.
Yeah, probably clothed orgies, you know. And like, I guess the burning of the crack pipes.
True, that'll push it up.
That'll be the hardest one. There's no blood at all. There's
no
effects of the drugs either, but there is the drug inhalation, I guess.
It is a good like Reaganite PSA of like, don't do drugs, kids. They'll make you sit in a chair and speak for 2 hours.
I mean, this is the crux of the movie is Biden and Hunter sitting in a fucking car talking.
Yeah.
And they cut back to it so much as well. Like, that's an easy, like, 20 minutes of this film is just... And not that the rest high-octane action or orgies or debauchery, it is just sitting down and fucking talking. Which is so... This is where it doesn't feel like an SNL sketch. Like, and you know what? No. They fucking name-dropped Belushi at the start, so like...
Oh, I have that written down. We should have spoken about that. That's... So, Hunter At first, I thought the stripper that Hunter befriends, and who's kind of like the female lead in the
She
film.
becomes the female lead as well, like
Yeah.
100%.
At first, I thought this was meant to be Weed Slut 69 or whatever, like the famous girl that was in all of Hunter's pictures, but she's not. She again is probably like a composite character, but he meets her. And then he's like, takes her back to the Chateau Marmont. And that's where he's like, Belushi, he was a comedian. He had a lot of demons too. Which is weird because the film's oddly sympathetic towards Hunter.
That's at the end of the day, when you watch it, that's where you don't get the shock or the gasp or any of that sort of value from it. It's just, he's kind of sad and...
Yeah.
He just wants to be an artist, maybe, and
Yeah, but they don't do enough of his like shitty art for like you could easily do like the Nick Nolte like Scorsese movie where the Hunter's in a lockup like just covered in paint and
they don't make fun of him enough though. It's like, and that's not just Fox's smugness and I'm gonna pass off. It glorifies him in ways, and then other times it's just boring.
I was expecting this film to be directed by Bobby Boucher's mama. I was prepared for like, Hunter Biden is the devil. But they're very sympathetic towards him in terms of like, they give a lot of time to like Bo's death and Hunter's like grief with losing his mummy.
Yeah.
And
this is for them. Like, if you're going into these sort of like character development, then why? Like, what is your film about? Like, is it just a rag on Joe at the end? And like how bad a dad he is or whatever, but like...
Well, that's kind of the mistake of
make my dad Joe then,
That's the sequel. That's the failing of this film, and arguably like the failing of Trump's attempt at re-election was he gave Joe, like, he teed it up for Joe where he was like, your son's a loser, like he's a failure. And it gave Joe like the opportunity to be like, no, like I love my son.
Yeah.
And like when they leaked all those like Joe's text to Hunter of like, oh my darling boy, like don't worry, things will be all right. And revealed like whatever else, complete failure, like senile neoliberal, but he's like loves Hunter clearly.
Yeah.
And so that's where the film didn't really want to like, again, if you're sort of depicting Hunter and Joe, you're gonna fall into the pit of this is clearly like a far better relationship than Trump has with any of his sons.
And they probably aren't smart enough to pick them both in the way they want to. They can't.
No.
One of them's gonna have to be sympathetic. Either it's the son fucking up for the dad, or the dad's not been there for the son.
Yeah, exactly.
So someone's gonna have a sympathetic kind of point of view.
Like you can make Joe being like, oh, he's too weak and senile to realize that like his son is like spiraling off the rails, like and like that's gonna jeopardize. But instead, they just want to portray it as like both of them are crooks.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the crooked Hillary thing. And like I said to you, like right from the off, Joe meets Hunter in the limo where they will spend the rest of the film. But just like from their first meeting, it's so wrong. Like Joe's sort of like awkwardly standing 6 feet away from him, being like, "Hello, son. Hello, father." Mm-hmm. It's like the one thing we know about Biden is that he's like a huggy guy. Yeah. Like he's always getting done for touching people inappropriately. Yeah. He would be like wrapping his arms around Hunter, like, "Come on, champ, like let's go get some hot dogs and shoot the breeze, man."
But in this universe, though, Joe is low energy too. Because even in the opening scene when he's in the pool and he gets out, he's not all touchy-feely. He's just old and bored and fat, apparently. And
he's John McCain.
He's a very, very fucking good lookalike for John McCain.
And like they don't, as weird as it seems, for something that like slavishly adapts like half the words Joe Biden says are words that he's actually said or things that he says, they don't get the vibe of Biden at all.
And that's probably one of the biggest misfires as well. I mean, your two leads are not the two things you're trying to stand up and make fun of as well. You have no idea what they are.
I know.
And that is so weird to me. Like that's why I can't even compare it to even modern day SNL. You know, where you're like, do you know what you're making fun of, or are you just looking at Twitter trending? But no, this is something you're passionate enough to fund, to fly out to Serbia, to produce and release, and you have no idea what you're on about.
Like, you tell me, like, a Scorsese film with Joe Biden, that's going to be amazing. I'm 100% here for these flashbacks to, like, pools in Delaware with corn pop, like, all these fantasy scenes where, like, Nelson Mandela appears next to him. It's like, come on, Joe.
See, it would be funny, and you'd also be getting your point across as well. Like,
exactly. Like, I don't know. This almost, of all the films we've spoken about, is the biggest missed opportunity. Where I'm like, how on earth do you fuck this up so badly?
Yeah.
Because it's just boring. It's dull. It's like a Wikipedia page narrated by two people.
100%.
And with Gina Carano smugly winking at the camera every now and then.
I don't think we talked about enough about Gina. Like, she is the highlight and the low light of this film for me. Like, lit up when she came on screen because I knew I was getting some moment of her dead face staring at me and reading the lines off the key cards.
Yeah, so she's just been plonked on top of this film. She's not really in the film. She's just kind of like on top of it. It's like a bit of... It's like a McFlurry or something where they've just dumped all the toppings on top.
And then one thing as well is, other than the two Bidens, definitely the only person that wasn't dubbed because she was peeking and you could hear like the wind occasionally and just some background noise, unlike our fine podcasting abilities. Like she was definitely being mic'd up right there on set. We've got 20 minutes to do this, Gina.
Yeah.
Before you go back to your busy schedule.
I'm really curious to know how long Gina Carano spent shooting this film. Because there's the one really obvious green screen thing where she's basically, like, you can see a green outline around her frame. But the rest of it, she's just kind of, like, she's outside a car. You could do that in less than a day. She's, like, by Joe's, like, swimming pool again. Could do that.
And there's only one or two shots with the three leads together.
Yeah.
And there's one point where she's starting her narration and then Fox takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the longest take you'd have had to do. That might have taken more than 15 minutes.
These are pros, Kaya. These are some of the finest actors. These are some of the finest actors that you can find.
Gina doesn't need a second take. It's perfect.
Yeah, so she is laughable. Like, as soon as she appeared, I was like laughing at the screen because her suit doesn't fit. She's got like she's like a kid, like dressed up in like her parents' suit. Like she's got her hands in her pockets and just like nothing about her reads as a Secret Service agent at all. And she's not. You watch this and you realize, oh, here's why you've only ever been cast as a like tough woman holding a gun.
Yeah.
Because when she has to do voiceover, you just fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's like reading, like listening to like the slow kid in class have to read out loud, and she's stumbling over like Hunter went to Kiev and he paid a lot of money to some Ukrainian guys.
Because she can hold. I haven't seen Mandalorian, so my Gina knowledge is MMA based. I don't have a fucking clue about her acting. But I can see her holding a gun and looking tough. I can see her in some sort of Vasquez role of Aliens and whatever. But someone that's got to have some sort of charisma to deliver the lines and jokes and the winks to the camera. I mean, she's not. She's this film's Ryan Reynolds. And,
Christ, that's bleak. But you're right. That's what she is.
And I hate it. But I hate more that she disappears.
Yeah, so clearly, as we said, this was like a film that was probably already in, if not in production, in development. The script was written without Gina Carano's character, I reckon. Yeah. And then she got cancelled. Her agent probably spoke to someone and was like, hey, you know what, Gina's looking for work. And they were like, trust me, like, we'll find a part. Like, we'll write a part. We'll get her in this. Because you can remove that character from the film and nothing is lost.
Yes. And she's not going to be the stripper turned leaker other main character. That's not happening. So like we're just gonna make up a role for her. But yeah, she disappears at some point through the movie. My brain was melting, so I'm not gonna remember it. And that's sort of like the second half of the movie is this stripper turned lover turned right-wing leaker of justice.
I had no idea what she was, because she's like a Democrat, isn't she? She's like left leaning, and then.
But when Tyrone was telling her about the new, the real news that you can't go on Google or whatever the knockoff one was.
Okay, listener, in case you're aware that Kyle's slipping into racial stereotypes here, he's not.
No.
There is like a black guy in the film called Tyrone, who Lawrence Fox refers to as the big black guy at some point, whose job is just to like hand out black pills.
Yeah,
he's just like, or red pills, I guess.
Yeah, red pilling people.
He's just there explaining things to the women.
Was he? I don't even know who he was. Was he like an advisor or a bodyguard?
He's a bouncer at the club.
But then why is he in
because he comes back to the Chateau Marmont after party, and then everyone's left. Hunter and like
he's like banging the stripper, and he's just standing
he's there. He's hanging out. Which like they don't refer to him as Tyrone at all until the last line, do they? Like the end credits are basically playing, and she's like, "Okay, come on, Tyrone," and because he's just there to be like, "Hey, you know what? Like the Democrats are like the real racists. Like, you ever heard of Benghazi? Like Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh my God.
Like he's just there to be like, you know what? Like drag queens are trying to like read to kids in our schools. Like the vaccine. I don't think the vaccine's right. We should have lower taxes. He's just like he's clearly just like conservative mouthpiece of like, hey, you know what would be cool would be if there's like a black guy who said everything I believed in.
Yeah, I wanted to say, yeah.
You know,
I said same like talking dog. I wish he was an hallucination though. I wish
no,
exactly. Very friend of Hunter.
I said, yeah, he's like, I was like, it would be great if he was like Paul Bettany in A Beautiful Mind. Like they're just that, like, oh, you know what would be really cool would be if every time someone called me a racist, I could pull out my black friend and say, you know what, no, and not using the N-word, you're the real racist. Yeah.
But anyway, going back to her though, what's her name? Kitty. Kitty Cat.
The woman who's not weed slut.
Grace Anderson. So, and that actress is a Eastern European lady as well.
Well, she has. I'll say it's probably because I wasn't paying attention, but my ADR Spidey sense didn't go off. So
she was just what I was going to say. Like
she had a very Slavic sounding surname, but she's like arguably the second lead after Hunter.
100%.
And I didn't necessarily think she was dubbed.
Well, and the ADR is not exactly the highest standards.
No way, you can tell a mile away where.
So well, fair play to her then. I mean, that's she delivered her lines vacantly and blandly, but that's her. Whatever. That's no clutching here.
Okay, this is a perfect opportunity to segue into Razzie prediction talk.
Yes.
So, in terms of the film, of the things that I've seen that could possibly stop this, Morbius, if the meme factor, like this is worse than Morbius, but if the meme factor might carry Morbius over the line. Plus, as we know, they kind of like to share the love. Like they don't like Adam Sandler's only won once. Like sequels only each franchise only really wins once, and they've already done the Crooked Hillary movie and the My Pillow movie. So if they have like a third like conservative vanity project, that might seem like the Razzies. Like this might be too much even for them.
I understand that. See, on one hand, I disagree because assuming the committee and stuff, I think because they've already voted for like Landau or whatever his name is and Hillary's movie, then I think it'll be a pretty much guarantee that they're gonna hit it again and go for. I mean, it's the low hanging fruit and stuff. I did forget about Morbius, but they would be wrong if Morbius won over this. But if they're wanting some sort of recognition, I could see that happening. Lol, how funny we are. Morbius Razzie.
I think this. I'm more confident with this for picture. Jared Leto might win. Like actor might be their nod for it. And we know there's going to be like a ton of like cringeworthy, like worst on-screen couple, Jared Leto, and any Morbin time, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
So I think this could. I'm still confident in saying this could be the favorite. We haven't seen Blackbird, the Lord of the Dance James Bond film, but that seems too much of a British niche thing for the Razzies.
I don't think. And could that be worse? I mean, that's going to be our next special. Is Blackbird? Is it going to be worse? But no. I mean, I could. Right. So I understand that. I think Morbius. I can see Morbius taking worst picture, but this sweeping up all the other awards.
Yeah.
I can see Davi deserves worst director. Gina's going to be worst supporting actress.
So before we get onto this, I'll just say this film is a lot worse than I expected it to be.
Okay.
Like previously, we were going on the idea that this would be like the front runner because we know the Razzie guy has previous for hating like conservative movies. But just objectively, as a film, it's terrible. Even if you take the politics aside.
So this is your worst movie we've watched so far?
Diana's a weird one. Which again, sorry, the recent events have occurred and they had not occurred at the time of recording. So Diana was weirder and it just wasn't a film. So Diana
wasn't a film. And I'm gonna go out and about Diana was much more enjoyable.
Even in the bad musical numbers, there was more pace and momentum.
Stuff was going forward. We're flying through it, and
With every film, I felt like I was watching like somewhat of like a skilled craftsperson. Like there was something to cling on to, whether that was like the makeup in Mommy Dearest, whether that was like the visual effects artists in Transformers, or whether that was like just everyone bringing their A game in a decent proposal. Whereas this was just like the complete bargain bucket of we have the worst actors known to man, like a terrible script, like on nothing of a budget, and everything about this is just awful. So this was certainly the most, like, I struggled to find anything to cling on to.
Yeah, I mean, I do think our review in our podcast is something a lot more energetic than the film, but also than our Transformers review.
Yeah.
I mean, that fucking knocks
Transformers, if Transformers was 90 minutes, if we stopped Transformers at the 90-minute mark, 100%. I would be a lot more positive on it than this. Yeah. And if this went on for 3 hours,
I would be done. The podcast would be over. Yeah, so like that's the only. I mean, when I'm trying to think what the worst is, this being 93 minutes is only saving, and a few times unintentional laughters or smirks for early on is the only thing that can make me go, I could watch this again and sit through Transformers. Not positive or things. I think it's gonna be my second bottom. Just in terms of I don't have a headache.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not lost 3 hours of my life.
Okay.
So that's my very, very. We are at the bottom of the barrel there. They're like roll on Battlefield Earth thing, but
yeah. The sad thing is, like, maybe Battlefield Earth will seem like if you're making like an agenda piece, then Battlefield Earth is more successful at it than this.
100%. 100%. I'm more likely to join the Scientology party than sign up for Breitbart.
Okay, so sorry I cut you off. So the other nominations: Robert Davi, director, guaranteed nomination,
guaranteed winner.
Really?
I mean, I don't think they'll give it to Morbius or Michael Flat or Lord of the Dance himself. But I think Davi will win this award. I think the ones that are nailed on for me are Davi and Gina being worth supporting.
Yeah, so Gina is certainly, like, she's the biggest target in terms of she's the most outspoken, arguably the most objectionable person in the cast, although Lawrence Fox, she's more famous than Lawrence Fox. So I think she's going to be... in terms of performances.
Awful.
It's truly impressive to stink out a film in as little screen time as she has.
Absolutely, yeah.
I agree with you. Fox is going to be in a battle with Jared Leto, which I think he'll probably lose.
Yes. Nomination, but yeah.
Yeah. Joe Joe will get a nomination just because he's in the film,
Yeah.
but he's not really playing Joe Biden, but it's not exactly a bad performance per se.
I mean, it's not Joe Biden.
Well, you said it's Trump.
It's Trump.
It's closer
yeah,
to Trump than anything.
Absolutely, physically.
They have like a silhouette,
Yeah.
and you're like, he just needs to be like leaning
His
sort of
hair-
weirdly in the
his
hair.
hair's
Yeah.
the same, the frame's the same. It's so weird. It's so weird because Fox has the frame of Biden more
Yeah.
and stuff, and the hairline's even more similar. And
Yeah,
stuff. I'm like, oh, this is weird. In silhouette, it looks weird. It looks like Joe Biden talking to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I can see him getting nominated, Dynasty Boy, but I don't think he'll win. Just because he's too little a name as well.
Yeah, they'd have to go hard for the film if he's gonna like. It would have to be another Diana, which I don't know if it would. I think the woman who's not Weed Slut 420, I think she will be like, it's probably another one where she's in the same category as Gina. Like if she's a lead.
Yeah, if you want, I mean, she won't. She'll be under support.
And she won't beat Gina. She's awful in a different way if she's in it for like a long time, and she's just there to be like, so you mean that you did corrupt deals with China and Ukraine? She's like whatever the plot needs her to be. She's like explaining like the politics of China, like you know, like Uyghurs and Muslims in China. Which I was gonna say, this is an entry to my most hated like genre of film, and you see them all the time. Is like middle-aged man overcomes his problems through speaking to a sex worker for an hour and a half, and I realized it's like, shit, that's what this film is. Yeah. It's like a therapy for Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Of like, he's just talking about his problems to her, and she's interviewing him with like, oh, like, did you like, what? Because she's recording him. We haven't spoken about how this is like an alternate history as well.
Yeah.
So there's the fantasy scene at the end where she like gives the recording to Rudy Giuliani, and that gets Trump re-elected.
But I think that's the one thing that kind of I don't know what was the intention was, if she was genuinely a spy or a leaker, like she was planted there, or was she an actual like hooker that also had family that were attorneys and missionaries in China and doesn't know who Biden is, but she knows who president whoever it is.
As I said, she is whatever the film needs her to be in any given moment. And maybe we should give the film some plaudits of like, I feel like there's a couple of films we'd said would have been better as alternate histories, like what if Diana survived the tunnel? What if like a transformer prevents the Kennedy assassination?
Yeah.
And in fairness, what if Rudy Giuliani gets Trump re-elected in 2020? I'm here for that.
Yeah, well, it's honestly, and you said it early on, though, I want to see Trump in this film. Like, not having Trump in it at all fucking broke my heart. Like,
yeah,
I was ready to see whatever Breitbart imagined him to be, and
I said to you, I was like, I was hoping for like the Ben Garrison version of Trump, where he's like a man like more than half his age, and he's just ripped. Like,
Chris Pratt, like you said.
Yeah. No, I said Armie Hammer.
He said Armie Hammer. I'll go with Chris Pratt for my alternative one.
So yeah, that's a nice segue into how would you improve this film?
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit, but take away the smugness and the sort of in-house winking and wearing on the joke and things, but play a bit straighter. Have people stand up and not sit down for 8 minutes. I mean, that's not much to ask here. I'm not take out the
people on crack don't stand up, Kyle.
Without doing absolute wholesale changes, just taking some of the smugness out would have probably helped a little bit, playing a bit straighter. But I mean, I don't think you can change much. The score being different could help, maybe.
Christ, the score was awful. It almost didn't seem like a score. It just seemed like the cheapest, best suited rights-free music they could get.
There's some Disney motifs and stuff in there.
It was like kooky, quirky, sort of like when it's not trying to do like, when it's not like Pound Shop Rolling Stones or like Z-list Kanye. It's like weird, sort of like quirky.
Well, actually, though, and I thought I didn't mention it though. There was an actual song in it though.
Yeah.
At
the end, when it's like, I was like, is this going to be Lawrence Fox's moment? Because have you heard like Lawrence Fox's?
I've not heard.
You haven't? Oh, you need to watch it. We'll drop this in. The performance he does on This Morning, and he's kind of like you might like him because he's kind of like a Bob Dylan, like folksy kind of, but like his lyrics are just like, they tried to cancel your opinion. They said that you were racist with the cultural Marxism and pronouns.
Oh my god.
It's his lyrics are awful.
And the first to fall was laughter, just to quell the unoffended. They seek to murder your opinion.
Have you heard, we're going off topic here, but like, that's Eric Clapton's new album. Have you heard that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
It's like that and Van Morrison as well. Just, anti-vaccines and cancelled and no free speech. And no, we're watching that. But if that was an original song, which I have no idea if it was, or if it was some royalty-free thing they found in the trash, could be a nomination for, I know it's not even an award anymore, but they might bring it back just for this. Give it all the awards.
In order to improve this film, I basically I've kind of spoken about it. I would just make it more insane. I would make Hunter worse. Yeah. I would dabble in QAnon stuff. I would have
make a different film though.
No, I think you can just include winks.
Could you?
If you're just like Joe having like a 12-year-old delivered to his limo and like winking at Gina and then closing the door. Like I think there's plenty of things you can do to.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a 3-day shoot in Belarus. You have no time to add in things.
You're underestimating my abilities there. There are 12-year-olds in Belarus. And also, what I wanted was I just wanted more like, I thought this was going to be like soy-facing MCU film, but for conservatives. I wanted like every like right-wing guy to be like pointing at the screen going like, oh my god, it's that, like
they will like
I wanted the glup shit of like, oh my god, like it's Base Stick Man, or like
we didn't get Base Stick Man.
Oh my god, it's the Q Shaman. Oh my god, like it's that guy is like, there's Mike Pence, there's Eric Trump.
We got the closest to your analogy there is when Biden came flying in with his cape, nice little stop sound effect. That was the closest to the MC world of Breitbart.
I wanted like Pepe the Frog, like Pepe to be like one of the clip art, who's like Pepe's like explaining things to the crowd. Maybe like Alex Jones. Like I want to see like the conservative bargain bucket of like So listen, okay, Democrats.
I mean, if it was ramped up to 11, it would have been a fucking, and that's what we thought though. We thought it was going to be insane, but. It wasn't, and it's like...
Are we just fools? Is that what we're learning? We believe the best in everyone, even Robert Daffy.
Yeah, like, that's what we're saying, that Diana had been high energy, and Diana being on coke was great fun.
Yeah. Like,
but here, this is bomb, and I mean, I get your points, and I think that would be a much better film, but it's an entirely different film.
Yeah, I guess it is probably hard to find, like, an Alex Jones impersonator in the middle of Serbia. Which, the red thing, surely Alex Jones is, like, the reddest man who's ever lived. So he's, like, he would fit perfectly in the colour grading of this
100%,
film.
100%. They could have got him, I couldn't anymore, but they would have just probably at the time this was being made.
Which, I don't know, this is the last time we solicited for Mr. Razzie. This time, let me make my pitch to Breitbart. If you're working on anything else, like, I'm available. I'll happily be in it. I could be the conservative Orson Welles. Like, I'll put on a fat suit. I'll be Alex Jones. I'll be Trump. We can do an Eddie Murphy thing. If you're, like, the next film that you're planning, like, I don't know, maybe something about the pandemic or vaccines. Maybe it's the January 6th, the Capitol riots.
I can't wait.
Trust me, like, I can do a much better job than Robert Daffy can, so call me.
And I could probably do better than Gina, so I'm your guy.
It's a package deal. And you can contact us at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com, and you can follow us at watchingworst. And so join us next week when normal service will resume.
What have we got planned for next week?
Next week we are off to Florida Key. There's a place called Kokomo.
I can't wait.
We're watching Cocktail, so join us for that.
Before we even go, I don't want to keep saying I'm excited for this because I was excited for Hunter, but
Yeah.
Cocktails can be, pun intended, a refreshing change of pace. It's going to be, fun in the sun.
John Stamos, Mike Love.
Mike Love, all the goodness. I can't
We're
wait.
hanging out with our friends in the sun. It's going to be a blast. We've done our Coke and now it's time to get a little bit perked up with some cocktails.
Excellent. I can't wait. I'll see you all then. Bye, guys.